This is a Monty moment. I'm Johnny Montalbano. We're into the final quarter. Just over 5 weeks remain and less than 40 regular season games in Major League Baseball's regular season. And now is the time where each series takes on more meaning, and even more so starting this season, as there won't be as many divisional matchups as in years past. So you look at it this week, pay attention to 5 series as the race to the postseason heats up. And while some teams like the Braves and the Dodgers have all but guaranteed winning their divisions, plenty of races are still opening up for each division, and especially for the wild card spots. And while both the Giants and the Phillies are practically out of their divisional races, they do hold the top 2 spots for the NL wild card, and they faced off to start this week with only 4.5 games separating the Phillies and 5 other teams in the race: the Giants, Reds, Marlins, Cubs, and D-backs. And with so many National League teams in the thick of it, any lopsided result from this series could seriously alter the playoff landscape. So a big series there in Philadelphia between the Giants and the Phillies. The Blue Jays take on the Orioles for 3, Tuesday through Thursday. And entering the series, the O's have dominated the Jays, winning 8 of 10 while outscoring them 60-31, which is part of the reason that Baltimore holds an 8.5 game lead over Toronto. Baltimore has undeniably been one of the most fun storylines of the entire season, even if their owner, John Angelos, is talking about possibly raising ticket prices in the future to pay his own players. But you know what? I wouldn't focus on that. I'd focus on the Orioles, who started the week, this year's team, at 76-47, a 3-game lead in the American League East over the Rays, a 5-game advantage over the Rangers for the best record in the American League. The Orioles have been winning in entertaining fashion, backed by a movement of young stars, a lights-out bullpen. I tell you right now, folks, if the way that they're looking this year, Camden Yards, that's going to be a tough place to play. And this Orioles team could very quietly make some noise in the postseason. So look forward to the Blue Jays and the Orioles there this week. In Milwaukee, the Twins and the Brewers meet for a quick 2-game series. The Twins swept the 2-game series against the Brewers in Minnesota in June. And here's a fun question for you all. Could the Twins and the Brewers both win their divisions in the same year for the first time? Since the Brewers' Seattle Pilots were added as an expansion team in 1969, Milwaukee and Minnesota have never won their respective divisions in the same year. And that could change this season, though, with the Brewers holding a 3-game lead over the Cubs, the Twins holding a 6-game lead over the Guardians in the American League Central. One positive of the new schedule change that went into effect this season is a witnessing series that you may not see unless it's a World Series like we did back in 2018, and that'll happen this weekend at Fenway Park between the Dodgers and the Red Sox. This is just the second time the two teams have matched up since the Red Sox beat the Dodgers in 5 in the 2018 World Series. When the Dodgers visited the Red Sox in Boston in the 2019 season, the Dodgers took 2 out of 3. Finally, the Yankees and the Rays in Tampa this weekend looked like a big series for both at the start of the season. Now the Yanks, who are pretty much on life support, look like they're going to be trying to play spoiler. You don't hear that much regarding them. As the Rays, who currently hold the top AL wildcard spot, they have a stunning 14-game lead over the Yankees. And their head-to-head matchups this season, though, they've been much closer affairs. Yes, Tampa is taking 6 out of 10, but they've only outscored the Yanks by just 8 runs. So the Yanks could play a little bit of spoiler. You know, when I looked at this series, though, this weekend, this is not really about the Yankees. It's really more about the Rays and where they're going to stand. We know they started almost historically a 27-6 start, 13 straight wins to begin the year. But since that point, Tampa has struggled. They barely played just above 500, 48-45. They've lost numerous pitchers to injuries. Obviously, their ace, Shane McClanahan, we learned this year, had to undergo Tommy John surgery. So he'll be out for this year, pretty much, if not all of next year as well. They've had other key injuries that they've had to deal with in that rotation and in their pitching staff in general. And obviously, the big news regarding Tampa Bay is shortstop Wander Franco, who we found out on Tuesday got put on administrative leave. That's a big deal for Tampa after giving him an 11-year extension not too long ago, and now he's had to deal with multiple problems this year, and we don't know what that means, if he's going to come back at all this year. There's still discussion if he could be postseason eligible. So that story is still developing. Of course, keep it locked in here too, not only to us here at the Monty Moment, but all of our Empty the Bench podcast network programming for the latest on Wander Franco, because that story is still developing as well. So we all know that Kevin Cash and the Tampa Bay Rays do more with less than any other team in baseball. But you know what? This is going to be a different task this year after their historic start now really trying to get by with that rotation in shambles. I mean, they still have Tyler Glass now, but he has a tough time staying healthy. Zach Eflin's been a nice signing for them, but he's been dealing with knee problems too. So Tampa really just struggling down the stretch here, trying to stay afloat. We'll see if they can do that. The Yankees, it feels like this week is kind of the time where they're maybe starting to make a transition. They're bringing up Everson Pereira this week. They also brought up Peraza. So they're starting to see some of their younger guys come up, and we'll see what that means for them. They're 9 games out of the wild card, 4 games under 500 starting this week. Definitely not the Yankees of years past. So those are 5 big series, though, if you're a baseball fan, to watch this week, I should say, as we start to come down the stretch. So but before we go, a couple other notes this week when we look at Major League Baseball. Let's go back to that Dodgers-Red Sox series for a second, because you do have the return of Mookie Betts to Boston. And few players in Major League Baseball history have impacted 2 of baseball's premier teams the way that Betts has. We all know from 2014 to 2019 with the Red Sox, Betts was a 4-time All-Star. He won the AL MVP in 2018. He was a key cog in the Red Sox title run that October. And finally, in Queens, it'll be the Angels taking on the Mets. And no, it's not an important series for either, but how about Shohei Ohtani in Queens? Is this a sign of things to come for the future there? We've heard reports about how Ohtani prefers to stay on the West Coast, but given how much Ohtani is going to command as a free agent, Steve Cohen and the Mets can never be ruled out. And it should be a fun one as the Angels try to stay relevant, barely there in the AL wild card, while the Mets, who haven't been amazing, and Buck Showalter's second season as manager there, they've seemed to turn things around a little bit, but it might be a little too late. So that's what we have to look forward to in the baseball stretch as we come down the stretch of this season. For more, like us on Facebook and Twitter at GameOnETB. You can follow me on Twitter at MontalbanoNY. Please check out our YouTube channel at youtube.com/ETB Network, where if you like our Monty moments and all of our content, please leave us a like. If you're new, hit that subscribe button, and it's now more than ever, make sure to have your notifications set so you never miss another Monty moment or any of our content. Also, check us out, etbpodcast.com, for our great blog posts from all of our correspondents here. And also, if you are on the go, you can download ETB and all of our content on your favorite audio platforms, on Apple, Spotify, all of those. So in case you're on the go, you can listen to all of our content there. This has been a Monty Moment. I'm Johnny Montalbano.